Welcome, welcome. Today is October 24th, 2016, and we are talking about fall fashions tonight, and we are excited. We've got a couple announcements. It reminds me when I was in high school, but we have a couple announcements that we'd like to make. The first is we just finished our state fair here in Texas. The state fair was over yesterday, and I went and was kind of walking around the art section. I love to see the sewing, and I'm sure everybody at their fair goes and sees those sections. And I saw a pattern and I thought, that looks an awful lot like a pattern I made. And I took a picture, and then I saw the name and I said, I know her. Anyway, long story short, Julie Ford is a customer. Julie Ford lives in this area, Dallas area, and she submitted a jacket and she won first place. We're so proud of her. Congratulations, Julie. She used pattern 909, Marita's Easy Jacket, and she embroidered. It was beautiful. It was really, really beautiful. So I don't know. We're actually going to post it on, you'll see, we'll put it on Facebook so that everybody can see it. And it's got a big blue ribbon, premier, first place. So congratulations to Julie. We're very proud of you, and we love that you enter those contests and make all of us sewers proud. All right, and then the other exciting news we have is our new our 500 series PBS. If you remember, we filmed it earlier we actually filmed it last year. Anyway, it seems like it's been a while. And so we just had to get a few things done and go and then we had a little illness we had to kind of focus on. And so it is actually going to start airing March 1. We're very excited about that on PBS stations. And I have to tell you that, again, the main reason I really brought that up is to thank you, because when we spoke with the gentleman who approved the show, he said the show has been very well received and you have very loyal followers. That all is you. So I really have to say thank you, because you have made noise, and it's okay to make more noise, but you have made noise and you have been heard, and thank you. I mean, that is really what makes the difference, is you who want the show, and you call, every PBS station throughout the whole country plays a different time frame. And so it's hard to coordinate, it's hard to do all of that. But anyway, we want to say thank you. So we also, in getting that done, and we're just kind of getting caught up over the last 6 months or a year, but we are filming a new series, Series 600, and we'll film that in April. So we're very, very excited. We'll announce it in an email probably Thursday, just to let you know that we're on the rolling. And then the other thing I wanted to announce is that we had knit muslin, and knit muslin, we sold it in 5-yard packages and it was $5 a yard. We got some in again. So for those of you watching the webcast, you're probably going to be the only ones who are going to get this knit muslin, because we don't have that much. And so I wanted to announce it here first, and then maybe it'll be gone and we won't even put it in the email. But anyway, we did want to let you know it's black. It is one-way stretch muslin. It's perfect for trials. It's perfect for a trial run. So we really were excited to kind of let you all know that. It's hard, like I said, I'm always asking, I'm always looking, and about 10 times out of 11 I come up negative, but that one time makes me happy. All right, so we're going to start now with questions, and I'll see if we can answer those questions. I'm still confused about finding my size for a top. I wear 2X in store-bought clothes. What size do I buy in patterns? Well, first off, all the sizes come in one envelope, so you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to predetermine your size when you buy the pattern. You can buy the pattern and know that all the sizes will be in there. And that's probably why you might be confused, is because on the back of the pattern it tells you how to select your size within that envelope. And what we say, like if we're going to use a top, I'm going to assume a top is a knit top versus a blouse. In a knit top, what I would do is I would take the top, I don't have one here, and I would measure the circumference at the bust, and then I would make that size. So keep in mind the directions are very simple. What you have to do though is you have to get rid of your former brain. You have to get rid of the stuff you're thinking. You have to get rid of 2x. There's no such thing as 2x. We're going to turn that into inches. We're going to make the numbers mean something to you. So it will be much more significant to you if you understand what you like as opposed to just a size that's changing on a weekly basis. All right, hope that helps. On Chanel's top, if the front hangs down, do I take in both right and left side seams? You do. Yes. Yep, it's equal. The reason it's hanging is because there's too much circumference, and that circumference is bagging in the center. Can 195 be made using a one-way stretch? It can. You know, again, when we there's such confusion out there as what's one way and what's two-way. So as long as there's stretch going around your body, then that's all you need for 195. Okay, you don't need to have stretch go up and down, just so you know. Hey Peggy, any chance that Giorgio's top will ever become a dress pattern? No. I enjoy the princess seams on garments. It makes garments so easy to sew. Good, but you can make it a dress pattern. You can just add 10 inches to the bottom. I would keep flaring it as you go, and it will take you about 3 minutes. And you don't need me to do that. I could be off doing another great pattern that's completely different. All right? So no, you don't need that. You can do it. And just add length to the bottom and just keep going out, or not. I would keep going out. I would enjoy that flare. The flare is really pretty. But if not, you could just, as you kept going, you could just kind of taper a little bit rather than going straight out. All right? How do I adjust patterns for narrow shoulders? Well, the first thing I would do if you're using a silhouette patterns is I wouldn't make any adjustment, because I get lots of emails, and lots of women say they have narrow shoulders. But they're making that comparison based on clothing or ready-to-wear or patterns, or, you know, there's really no such thing as narrow shoulders. It's just a comparison of you versus something else. So we have very few changes of narrow shoulders. We have very, 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 very few. So I'd hate for you to go through and make a change and not know you needed it. So I would strongly suggest you make up a muslin, know that you need it, and then there's 2 ways to do it if you need it. The first way is to use a princess seam and to just pull it in on the centerpiece, not on the side piece, just on the centerpiece. You just kind of make a little dart. You start at the shoulder seam. It's a vertical dart. You taper to nothing at the seam. The second way is to use your armhole template, and we have so many new customers a week that watching those old webcasts are really going to be helpful for you, because it's a whole different way of doing so many things. But the armhole template simply goes between 2 points. So I'm going to use my French curve here for a minute. Let's just say the armhole goes from this point to this point. This point goes on the side seam, and this point goes on the shoulder seam. So if the shoulder is wider than I want it to be, then I just take this and I move it in. But as long as I keep these 2 points, it doesn't matter where this goes on the shoulder and where this goes on the side seam. That's just the size of the armhole that the sleeve will sew into. So all I have to do is make sure those 2 points are where I want them. They can be anywhere. I put them in one place, and if you don't want them there, you can change them. And that's how to change it. So either of those 2 ways, but I strongly would suggest that you make that muslin first, or some kind of trial garment, so that you're just not kind of doing willy-nilly. Alrighty? On 3200, Sally's pant, is the waistband supposed to be only 1 inch wide? Yes. I've never seen a waistband that size. Oh, you're confessing that you've never shopped Armani. Armani actually is only 3/8 of an inch wide, and it's just really a kind of a little band on top of the pant, and the reason that is wide waistbands are really a little bit conflicting with a female figure. Female figures are hourglass. They don't stay the same for 1 inch width, so it doesn't make any sense to come in with a wide waistband. Even a 1 inch waistband. Jeans do it because they sit below the waist, and that inch is going up, and even many of us know the waistband gaps. Yoga pants can do it because they're elastic, and so they mold to it. But as far as a nice, beautiful pair of draped fitted pants, either a very, very narrow waistband that just finishes off the top and cleans it up, or else a contoured waistband, which is a facing that drops inside the pant. Those are the best two friends for women's pants. And we have both, like Ralph's Pant 3600 is a contoured band. Sally's is a narrow. We just wouldn't put a big wide waistband on top. It just, if you've never seen it, that's probably not good, but now you've seen it. See, there you go. All right, do leggings require a two-way stretch? Yes and no. You can do leggings with a one-way going around. I think the leggings I like the most have a two-way, but there's been some leggings that I've made that I love the fabric. Like I just got in this beautiful wool stretch, and it's not an itchy wool, it's a beautiful wool stretch, and I'm just deciding that I'm going to do a legging whether the leggings like it or not. So you can get away with it because it's really a skinny pant, but you don't have the same mobility than if you have two-way. That's really the only difference. Can you do it? Yes. Do you lack a little bit of mobility? Yes. When making a vertical dart, does it have to be straight up and down, following the center front or center back? Or could it be a straight angle line? Well, darts can be, vertical darts affect circumference. So they are straight up and down generally just so that they are visually pleasing. If you're taking a dart and you're deciding you want to angle it a little bit, you can do that and it'll still just affect circumference. You have to be careful that it doesn't look like a crooked dart, that it actually looks like it was supposed to be that way. So we have rules of patterns, and the rules are what they are, and sometimes when we follow all those rules, maybe like an angled dart follows all the rules of why we do what we do, and it maybe just doesn't look good at the end of the day, they call that bad design. Not saying an angled line would be bad design, I'm just saying I would be careful of it. I would watch for it. What would be the advantage of doing it angled? Is it just a design? Kind of go through those checks and balances and make sure that you feel like it's looking like you want to. If you saw it somewhere, maybe duplicate it carefully to make sure that it's the right angle, etc., etc. But no, they can be angled. There's nothing that says they can't be. Again, they just have a tendency to look like they're crooked if you're not careful. Okay? I recently purchased the yoga pants POM. That was in January. And I'm excited to try my first silhouette pattern. Must I use a woven fabric? Okay, so maybe you purchased the October yoga pant. That's for woven. Alright, so that's where we're getting crossed. So we had a yoga pant in the very beginning. It was January we did the yoga pant and we did the knit. And now in October we're doing the woven yoga pant. And you have to use a woven for that because it's made for a woven. It's kind of, let me just try to clarify this for you because I've gotten this question an awful lot lately. I think everybody needs to understand the top part of our body has what's called a t-shirt, a blouse, a jacket, and each of those names connotate different circumferences, or to me, pattern differences, different fabrics, different circumferences, differences between them all. In the bottom, we just call them all pants. And that leads us to where we need to keep in mind that they're not all the same, they're not all the fabric, and the differences between them all. We've got your skinny jean, your skinny pant. They're changing according to what fabrics I'm using, what circumference I'm using. A yoga pant is a knit. A woven yoga pant is a woven. So that's like saying, can I take a blouse pattern and make a t-shirt out of it? I'm sure you can. It's just a matter of how much time do you want to spend doing that. And I am not opposed to, you guys, you can do anything you want, you can spend as much time as you want, but you have to know the differences so that, do you want to take a blouse and make a t-shirt pattern? Is that what you want to do? I think because they're both called pants or even yoga pants, the knit and the woven, we somehow think they're pretty much the same and we can just kind of lop off some off the side and that will be good. So I would just caution you. I don't want to discourage you by any means, because the whole goal of all this education is that we get better and better and grow and have more fun making patterns, etc., etc. But I don't want you to jump off the cliff and not have a parachute either. So just like I said, be aware. All right. Peggy, what pattern is your floral top? This is a little cape that I made last Thursday, and so let's hold off. Let's go ahead and finish questions, and then I'll come back to it and I'll answer it for you. If making the asymmetrical wrap, what asymmetrical wrap? The one I did last Thursday? Okay. Using two-way stretch fabric, any advantage to placement of the pattern? Do we have an asymmetrical wrap pattern? Are you talking about a pattern, or are you talking about... I'm a little confused. We have an asymmetrical wrap? Okay. Give us a pattern number. We'll come back to that question because I'm not sure what we're referring to. Sorry, you guys. On the quilted jacket, is it kimono? Yeah, the quilted jacket is a kimono sleeve, yes. And too much at the shoulders, even with a shoulder pad. It doesn't have a shoulder pad. I don't think that pattern even has a shoulder pad. Can this be taken off the shoulder seam or a dart from underarm toward the shoulder? I would do both. Just what you want to do, keep in mind that when you have a kimono, you're missing a seam. You're missing that whole seam that sets the sleeve into the body of the garment. And what that seam does, that armhole seam, is it controls and minimizes extra. When you take that away, then you do lose a little bit of control, and you do have extra fabric. So you're either going to use a really drapey fabric, or once you put it on, you're going to dart out all you can. You can take out from up here, you can dart from below, and look for darts. Darts are the answers. It's not a length problem, it's not a circumference problem, it's a depth issue. We did one over the weekend. I was in the Fort Lauderdale workshop, and she did 1850, Barbara did, and you know, she put it on at first and we all just started laughing, but by the time we got it to the right size and we just took a couple darts, it's amazing how good it looked on her. And so it just has to, you have to choose the right size. Don't get it too big. You'll look kind of like this big polar bear. And then make sure you can take out all the extra that you can. Use a drapey fabric, and it's a great look. It's a great look. It's very stylish right now. It's very popular right now to do that jacket 1850. Okay. Is it the asymmetric wrap? Is that Mary's wrap? Asymmetric? Okay, so let's go back to that question, and I'll just assume it's Thursday. Okay, so the asymmetric wrap, we're going to conclude that asymmetric wrap because it's just what we named the webcast. I don't name that. And so it just didn't dawn on me that that was the name of that webcast. So sorry about that back here. Our guy who edits that and does all that, he names them. So I didn't know what you're talking about. Okay, and making that wrap that we did last Thursday, and that was asymmetric. Okay, using two-way stretch fabric, any advantage of placement of pattern with more stretchy grain? I don't think so. No, I think the grain, well, first off, knits don't have grain, but we're going to say just pattern in general. The asymmetric, if you just put it, it's just a rectangle. So if you put the pattern of the fabric just straight with a rectangle, then that's the best look. I think that's the best look. I'm sure you guys will come up with great stuff, but that's the best look, I think. Just keep it straight with the edge of the fabric, with the edge of the pattern. Okay? You guys, we're having too much fun on watching all these videos. Are you guys watching it? There's been a great response. You all love the little Thursday quickies, we'll call them, and they work. They're fun. Oh, the iron-on crystals? Yeah, they are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun. Just keep in mind that, again, those Thursdays, there were so many ideas that I get when I'm out shopping that don't fit into a webcast, or they don't fit into what we're doing. And so for me to be able to just share these ideas with you, it's kind of fun. So we were filming earlier today, and I'm telling you, I've got so many ideas. I don't know where they all keep coming from, but they just keep plastering in my head. So we're going to keep that up for a little while. We'll see how it does. Again, I do think that I had one email in particular, and there's been more than one, but anyway, one lady says she's going to make it a commitment to make sure that each week she gets the project done and make sure that she gets that project done. And it's very doable. I mean, it's very doable, and our whole goal on that Thursday is to keep them simple enough that you can do them quickly, and it's not like it takes a lot of sewing time. So that's the goal with that Thursday. Okay, we're good? Okay, so the wrap I have on is actually the asymmetric wrap from Thursday. So as I've gone literally in the last 2 weeks from coast to coast, California to Florida, and I have to sneak in shopping time, y'all know that's like critical for me. I've seen the same exact little wrap done 2 different ways. Well, 3 different ways. I showed you a couple ways on the webcast Thursday, the way I showed you. You're going to take that same diagram. So it's 20 inches wide, it's 2 yards long, and you're going to have to look at the diagram because I diagrammed it well, and we don't have the capacity to film here like we did there. But I want to show you this way because this is all this is the asymmetric wrap. It's just sewn a little bit differently and it's put on differently. And I had to go all the way from California to Florida to see this way. And so here we are in Texas bringing it to you. Alright, so I've got my 20 inches wide, 2 yards. Now when I was doing the asymmetric wrap, and for those of you who haven't watched it, just hang on and you can go back and review it. When I was doing the asymmetric wrap, I put a fold and told you didn't have to have that fold. You could go ahead and make a seam there. Don't do that with this. You need a fold at the end, so it's a yard. You have to have 2 yards long and 20 inches wide. So I told you in the other one how to save fabric. This one you're not going to do that. You're going to need the 2 yards long. You're going to fold it so the fold is here, and it's going to be 20 inches wide. Alright, so when the fold is here, at the top, you're going to leave an opening of 17 inches. The one on the drawing I did was 13 inches. You're going to go 17 inches on this one. The rest of that is going to be a seam. So that means if it's a yard long and you go 17, 36 minus 17 is 19, what's sewn is 19. So you recognize almost half is neckline, almost half is sewn. So it's 17 and 19. This is open, you're going to hem this, you're going to hem this, however you want to do it. Then, so it's almost exactly like we did, but the way you wear it is going to be completely different, and this is what you get. I mean, I just can't believe these creative people out there that we steal from. The seam that you just made, so the seam that was along here, you put that at center back. And this ends up being the fold. This is all the fold. It's just way cool. And you can see that's the portion down there. So right at center back is the seam. You're just adjusting how you put it on. This is the fold portion. It creates this cowl. And then this is the length. So it's so simple. It's really fun. Yeah. Alright? So the reason I wanted to do one more version of it is, number one, we'd kind of already shown you how and the diagrams and everything. This, you're going to use 2 yards of fabric, but because of the width, you're going to get 2 or 3 out of this, so it's great holiday gifts. Take a neighbor, you know, brighten her up, somebody in a wheelchair would love to have something like this over their shoulders, keep them a little warm. There's so many ideas and thoughts that I had as I was thinking of these. Alright, so but the main reason we started with them last week was because wraps are so in for fall. They're just everywhere. They're just really, really popular. So our fall fashions tonight, I'm really going to focus a lot on wraps. I'm going to do one thing before I get there, a couple things before I get to wraps, but there's so many ideas out there, it's ridiculous. And I'm going to reference you to Neiman Marcus. I'm going to reference you to one particular brand because that's what I got the inspiration for one of these, and theirs was only $900 and ours was $50. So such a savings. But anyway, before we even get there, I'm going to go, yes, can you please turn to show us the back of the wrap? I don't know if it'll help you. I don't know if you'll see it. but I can turn, yes. Can you see the seam right down my center back? Can they see that? Well, the seam is right down my center back, and then this is the portion that is the opening. See, kind of, if I hold it like that, kind of, this is the part that's the opening, and then it falls into the cowl, because the back of the center back is right there at the back of your neck, and then it opens up for the cowl. All right, and if you all promise, if you just do it, you will so get it. Don't try to wrap your head around it and get it and then do it. Just do it and do step by step, just like I showed in that thing, but then change up those numbers for tonight. Walk in the park. Well, what kind of materials are good for wraps? I think that's a great question, because the one reason and the main reason I did this is because there's so many fabrics. You can use woven silks. This is a burnout. I mean, I love it. I put up, I didn't, but we put up some new fabrics today, and there's one that's like a beautiful coral color, and it's the same as in this burnout, and I put the burnout over the coral. It's beautiful, just to make like a little t-shirt with this burnout over it. It's amazing how beautiful they are. But you can go into knits, really any fabric. What you need is you want it to have some drape to it so that it will drape. If it's too stiff, then you'd want to do more the asymmetric wrap rather than this one, because this one needs a little bit more drape. Okay. All right, so I want to start with this little dress. So let me explain to you how we're going to do this. This is great for fall. It's perfect for right now. Don't wait too long. You know, it's perfect for right now before it gets too cold, and it won't take you long to make at all. I've actually made a couple. I saw this at Nordstrom's. Y'all know, ridiculously priced. The reason I made it was twofold. Number one, the one I found was sleeveless, and I didn't want mine to be sleeveless. Not that I couldn't wear something over it, but the problem is the look is that you've taken it off and it's right here, so it looks silly to have a wrap up here and a wrap around your hips. That doesn't even make sense. So I wanted to make one that had a sleeve to it. Then the reason I made it is because the one at Nordstrom's had the stripes running around my rear end, and the last thing I wanted was the stripes to be running around my rear ends, where here I could put them up and down. I could control where I wanted the stripes to be. I like this Beth with stripes, but it could be done in so many different ways. It could be solid and a print. The print becomes the little wrap, and this wrap is permanent, so it's sewn on. I'll show you how to do that. But again, I can see so many variations but I just think it's adorable. This is the tank top. So all I did was lengthen it to my knee, which is whatever number you need to add, and of course that's the beauty of making it also. Okay, then what I did is I made this separate piece, and we're going to undo this so we can see exactly what it looks like. But let me just explain that it's the front and the back, but it's minus about 4 inches in the front, and then I angled the piece out to be about 6 inches at the bottom. So you really do want it to look like it's like a little sweater, a little cardigan kind of wrapped around your hips. And these are like the sleeves. So make it, this mannequin is smaller than I am, so make it like 4 inches to where it doesn't meet here, and open up to about 6 inches where it doesn't meet at the bottom. Alright, and it's just going to be one long piece is all it is. You'll notice in this one what I did is I made the stripes go up and down, and then what you're going to do is you're going to add this little tie end. And all it does is it kind of looks like a dog's ear or a donkey ear or something like that, and it's about 9 inches long. So you want to have enough that, and you do that on both sides. It doesn't matter what it looks like, it's not a big deal, but those are what are going to tie, and you're going to make a little square knot. Okay, so you've got this big piece, and you can see there's no side seams, it's all one piece. So you're going to cut it. You can put the folded center back, and then just cut it one long piece, the dog ears and back around, angle the front, that's it. Then you put the dress on, make the dress, put the dress on, and then you're going to hem this whole entire thing. And all I did was serge all the way around it. I put 3/8 all the way around it. At the bottom I always have a tendency to put 1 inch because I think it gives it a little bit better drape. And then on the back I took elastic, and the elastic was only 6 inches. I stretched it to 8 inches, and tucked it up inside before I hemmed that part, so it eased in. So I took 6 inches of elastic, stretch it to 8, stretch it to 9, something like that, and let it gather. And then once it gathers, you're just going to sew it right at center back and sew it right in place, so that you can see that all it is it's attached to the dress at that portion. But you want to put the dress on so that when you go to put this on, you want to make sure it's at your back, at the wrap, at the deepest part of your back. And then you sew it on. That's it. It's that easy. But it is adorable. I have worn this. I actually did this a while ago. I was going to do it on a Monday webcast, and we decided it was, well, never mind. Anyway, we're going to do it on a Thursday. We decided it was too involved. It's not involved. Y'all can handle this. And then when you tie the knot, I wanted to show you this because I've been surprised at how many women don't tie knots. If you do left over right and bring it around, then you do the right over the left, because that way you get a really pretty knot. If you don't tie it that way, you get a really ugly knot. So we're going to do that again. We're going to go left over right, then we're going to go right over left. And I think it's just because a lot of us weren't in Boy Scouts that we don't know how to do that. But that's the way it's done. Alright, easy enough, and it leaves a really pretty knot there. And I'm telling you, I made this and worn it, and it's amazing. Compliments, compliments, lots of compliments. Alright, any questions on that? We're good? What is a burnout? A burnout fabric is when there are 2 different fibers being used, and one, literally, there's acid poured on to where one of the fiber burns out in some places, but because the other fiber is resilient to the acid, it stays. So it's this, and you can see that there's 2 layers in some places, but only 1 layer in other places. It's actually beautiful. If you go on the web, I love burnouts. They're just really, really pretty. They kind of come in and go out, but because velvets are so strong for fall, burnouts have come back in as well. Burnouts kind of have a velvet feel to them. They're just pretty. So anyway, like I said, if you've got burnouts in your stash and they've been there for 10 years, it's time to pull them out. Like velvets too. Although I will say that they've all changed significantly. They're much easier to work with. They're much easier to sew on. I did a velvet, and I'm going to show you. It's just incredibly easy to sew on. Okay. The elastic's at the waist, and again, it's only a little piece. And then before you sew it on, what you want to do is put the dress on, tie it in place, and then just put 2 pins in the back of you where you want it to be. It's already got the elastic, and you did that while you were hemming all the way around it, and then just top stitch that in place. And the rest of it is tied on. Okay? Alright, so I want to show you this jacket. So I've got 3 outfits here now. Well, that was 4. The one I have on is 5. You all know that we're getting to a point where we're going to have to clean out our closets for fall because there's way too many clothes and way too many ideas. Alright, so this is just, oh my gosh. It's just really fun to get great ideas and see beautiful things, and they just work out really well, and I love them, and then you can't wait to wear them, etc., etc. So we've had a lot of discussion lately about the differences between tops and blouses and jackets, and you all know obviously the biggest difference is the sleeve. So this is pattern number 1825. This is a new fabric. We just put this up today, and you can see that holding up that strip, I'm hopeful you can kind of see that you see right through that fabric, but it's a knit, and not only is it a knit, it's an embroidered knit. So this is the fabric, and I'm going to kind of hold it like that because I think you can see right through it. It's very lightweight. So to make a jacket out of this, to me, was perfect. Although, because it was a knit, I wanted it to almost look like a sweater jacket. So I used 1825 as the base. Then I took my armhole that was my knit sleeve, and my knit armhole, and I put my knit armhole onto the jacket, and used the sleeve. And I made sure that the stretch went around, so that's all I needed. And then to fasten this up here, I just love this. This is what we have. Sorry, excuse me. It's called a magnetic clasp, and we have it on. We'll have it on the page for you. But I love this, and I'll tell you what my thought was. Is so many of these closures today are just quick and easy. This is a little bit asymmetric here, and then it opens up to where it's just regular at the bottom. So when I did this, I put the ugly one on the left side because this one's going to stay there. And then I just put a little snap on the inside. I mean, obviously you could wear it like that, but the other way that it can be worn is just open. And because the fabric is thin, I don't want to tear too hard. But you can see that the goal was to just wear it like this. And when you wear it like that, what you can see is that the silver clasp doesn't even show. So easily, and I don't want to let go because obviously I don't have anything on underneath here, but I could have put on a little black shell. So you can actually wear it open as well. So the third part of this that I think is just lovely, I'm going to go ahead and redo the snap. And I love this little silver clasp. I'm going to redo this magnetic silver clasp. It's really beautiful. Yeah. It's the one right above it, actually. Of the three, it's the middle one. Yeah. Because the selvage was just beautiful on here. So I really wanted to take advantage of the selvage. So the selvage had this beautiful, just this kind of feathery, lightweight, what was showing. So I cut it off. Then I serged it thinner and serged one side just with black. Then what I did is I serged the edge of the jacket. I tucked the edge under and took the little selvage and put it underneath and top stitched twice. So it's kind of like almost got, it looks like a trim all the way around. I know it's black and I know you can't see it. But just think about almost like a bias tape where there's 2 rows of stitching all the way around, and then I did it up the front as well. So I did around the neck. It only took me 2 yards to do the whole jacket because the jacket itself is short, and also because the sleeve is a knit sleeve. It's not a jacket sleeve, so there's not a 2-piece sleeve, it's a 1-piece sleeve. The jacket itself has a little bit of flare to it, not a lot, a little bit. Oh, it's just beautiful. Just really, really beautiful. This jacket, so similar to this, I had seen at Neiman Marcus. It was the exact same pattern. It had a cut for a yoke. It had a yoke here and a yoke, you know, just a separate piece. No advantage of the yoke. It was solid, so I'm sure the design was just to build in some interest. And I just really, really loved it. Right in the same area that I was looking for this, I saw the skirt. And the skirt was Calvin Klein, and it is the yoga skirt. And the yoga skirt, this little skirt was $800. Okay, it's just unimaginable to me. And it was rayon also, just for the sake of argument, it was rayon. Now what it was is it was a yoga skirt, but it just was cut longer, and then it had slits. So if in the wintertime, if you're wearing it with a pair of boots or not, even like tights, and then just of course flats, you could just wear it with black flats and black tights if you're not a boot wearer. It would be adorable. But that black rayon, this black rayon skirt has this great drape, you can see, and then just slits up the side. And of course you can leave it, I left it to where I kind of measured and left it, I have the over the knee boots that I just adore, and so I left it to where it just came below the top of the knee boots. So no leg at all. You can obviously show as much leg as you want, but you can see that beautiful skirt and how great it lays and how great it hangs. Alright, and that's just the rayon yoga skirt cut longer. I added 6 inches to the bottom, and then I stopped stitching about knee length, and so there's about 10 inches that are unstitched. Okay? And that goes together with the jacket. Those two are going to be worn together. This is a perfect thing to wear together, this little jacket with that little skirt. And again, I would wear a little black shell underneath because it's, you know, the knit is very, very light. This embroidered knit It's just really beautiful. And I know you can't see the fabric, but boy is it pretty. It's really, really pretty. Okay, so embroidered fabrics are hard to come by, but embroidered fabrics that stretch, I just haven't seen those. So anyway, when I see fabrics like this, it's like, wow, I want that. All right, questions. Are we okay? Okay, so I want to show you another outfit. And I'm going to kind of go over here if we can. Pen over there for just a little bit. I picked this pattern out because of the shape of the back, and I hope you can see that because it's just absolutely beautiful. Let's see if I can raise her up a little bit. Maybe not. Alright, I guess I can't. Anyway, a lot of these, I'm going to call them a jacket. This is pattern 1955, and many of them, it's got the little ruffle collar. I'll show it to you in just a minute. But so many of them that I see, the backs are just forgotten, completely forgotten. And so the main reason for taking this and making a vest out of it, which is what I did, was a couple reasons. Number one, remember the blouse that we had, and this blouse we did in a Thursday a little while ago. This was the one that had the slit back. Remember I told you could use it over and over, and you could even wear it in winter, because now we're in winter and you can see that you're never going to even be able to see that the slits are in the back. You're only going to see the sparkles on the front. But I did want to shape the back. I wanted to really give it a good shape. So pattern number 1955, I did it exactly as the pattern. The only thing I changed was, obviously I didn't use the sleeve. And so these wavy collars you see are just everywhere. They are asymmetric. So if you wanted to make it way more wavy, you could draw it out farther to the side and back. I kept it just like the pattern. This knit is perfect. Both sides are usable. Both sides are really nice. I made it a vest because what I wanted to wear it with was going to have a sleeve already. Certainly if you wanted to put a sleeve in it, you could. I would use a knit sleeve. I wouldn't use a jacket sleeve. And then of course here's my little brown top underneath it. I belted it and then put the vest on top. So I actually cut this 10 inches longer than the jacket, so this vest on me is knee length. And again, great with a pair of leggings, great with a pair of flat shoes, either way I want to do it. But it's just a fun look. This stripe has so many different colors in it. It has the beige, it has the taupe, it has the gray, it has the charcoal gray, it has the brown, it has the black. There's so many things I could wear it with, and that was really the goal, was to be able to mix and match them. And as you see here in a little bit, I'm going to say this can be worn with this, da, 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 da. This especially can be worn with a long yoga skirt as long as it's got a short top underneath it. Alright, any questions on that? 1955, over 195 is this slit top that we did on the webcast, belted, long and belted. This is the one with the iron-on crystals, yeah. Yep. And I've worn it several times, you already know, because somebody already caught me at a workshop, and I've already washed it, thrown it in the washer, thrown it in the dryer. These crystals just stay. I love them. They're just too much fun. Another one, we're going to do something with the crystals this Friday, or this Thursday's webcast. We got a little crystal fun for you, so we'll show you another good way to use them then. Alright, so let's go to our last outfit. Our last outfit is, I just love it. It is from Neiman Marcus was the inspiration, Lafayette 148. I know many of you are familiar with that name. The vest itself was $900, and I'm going to kind of move things around so I can get this to be a little bit more forward for us. It's kind of hidden back there in the back. Alright. One thing that's really stylish right now is velvet. And velvet is, trying to see if I can get this out here a little bit. Anyway, velvet is really strong for fall. But the velvets, I think that when I first heard the word, I thought, oh gosh, velvets, what a pain. They wiggle this way and wiggle that way. They don't anymore. I think because they're, the old velvets were cotton velvets, and these velvets are not. These are a viscose. They're rayon blend velvet, and so they just hang. They have beautiful drape. The weight is really nice, and I mean, I'm telling you, I sewed this thing up in no time. So I chose the velvet for this cape, and the pattern I used was 75. It's called Phillips Cape. I'm gonna just, yeah, hang on, let me just get this out of here. There we go. No, don't. I'm not sure I'll ever get out of here tonight, but that's okay. We'll build a little hole back here. Okay, so here we go. What I want you to recognize, what I did with this, is there's a couple things. It's 75, it's Phillips Cape, and in Phillips Cape, you get the base and then you get this little shorter cape. So the reason I'd like you to look it up online is because there's a couple options. There's one thing I changed, and I just wanted you to see that. So Neiman Marcus, Lafayette 148, you don't have to look up it now, but just put in Lafayette 148 capes under Neiman Marcus, and it will pull up. And the one thing you'll notice is, and I put this arm here so you would see, is it's just a long piece in the front. The slit stops about elbow, and then there's of course the piece in the back. So there's just the two front pieces and the back. But if you notice how beautifully shaped it is over the shoulders, because when I have this on, it literally just sits at my shoulders. It doesn't move. It's gorgeous. So the reason I use pattern 75 is because 75 already has all that. It's already beautifully draped over the shoulders and beautifully shaped. So I didn't change anything else. I just rounded this out. That's on the cape. I rounded out the bottom. That's on the cape. So there's only two seams, and then of course you finish off the whole entire thing with I just did a serged the edge, tucked under 3/8, and just top stitched all way over. That's as simple as it is. The reason that, okay, so if you go back to the one actually at Neiman Marcus, the back on theirs was short. So where this was only stitched to here, they brought it across straight rather than coming down. So their cape was short in the back. Well, I didn't like that because that doesn't make sense to me to have it above at my waist in the back when it's long in the front. I didn't like that. I loved the cape. I loved the look. I loved everything about it. But I thought I'll wear it with leggings, and the arm coming out of here is a great look. But why would I want it above my rear end in the back? That conflicts to me what I could wear it with. So if it was shorter in the back, then I wouldn't be able to wear it with leggings, and I think it's the best look with leggings. So even at $900, I don't find sometimes, I loved it. I mean, I loved everything else about it. I loved the look and everything, but I didn't like that it was short in the back, and you can't add it at the store. You all know that. So I really like my version so much better. And for me, and I probably too, just because for my lifestyle, I want to wear leggings with it. So I had a kind of a whole big purpose for doing it. Maybe somebody else was wearing jeans. I don't know. But anyway, so I love the look. So then what I did is, of course, the underneath portion is belted, but also I made this little turtleneck with the underneath pieces. So I took those two underneath pieces. There's a front and a back, and they're a little bit A-lined. If you'll notice in pattern 75, they're a little A-lined. And I cut them just like they were. They've got a BC&D cup dart on them, but I moved the center front to the fold on the front, and the back was already on the fold. Okay, and then I cut the little collar, and I love this collar. I don't want a turtleneck, but I wanted a turtleneck. But I'm going to show you how to do either one, so it doesn't matter which one you want to do. But once you have the length of the neck, in this particular case, it was 9 inches. So 9 inches, total is 18, obviously. 9 inches, I always deal with half, but it doesn't make a difference. I'll kind of say both. 9 inches for half, 18 for total. I cut this 1 inch less because I wanted it to be a little bit smaller and draw in. I also cut this 4 inches wide. I'm sorry, 3 inches wide, but keep in mind you have to have it doubled, so it's got to be, and seam allowance, it's got to be 8 inches wide, and then the length you want it to be, which again, mine was 17. Okay? And then you just fold it in half and sew it together. It's like Anne's top. You know, it's like this the collar, but it's a different size and a different width. But I wanted a little floppy. I did not want a turtleneck on my neck. Number one, I don't like them, and number two, I don't like them. Actually, I don't know what number two is, but I didn't want it. If you did, whenever you see a turtleneck, what you have to do is you have to go from whatever the circumference of your neck is to the 18. So the fabric has to have that much stretch, because you make the whole collar only what your neck is, which is usually 12, I think, or 14. Let me measure that just so I can help you, give you better numbers. The velvet cape took me 2 yards, because remember, you only need the length, and there's a front and a back. Okay, so my neck is measuring 13, so you have to go 13 at the top. Well, 13 is the whole collar, but when you're sewing it on, folding it in half and sewing it on, it has to stretch to the 18. So 18's at the base, and it has to come into 13. So you have to have a fabric that will stretch from 13 to 18 in order to get a real turtleneck look. This would stretch that way because this is an ITY. It's actually got stretch in both directions. It just wasn't the look I wanted. I didn't want a tight turtleneck. I wanted a little bit more of a cow look, and then of course with jewelry it's just perfect. It's just perfect for what I wanted. So just think through what you want, kind of get all the elements together, and then go. And you can make your own little turtleneck. You can make your own pattern piece and do it. I would recommend a belt, and then let that cape just flow freely. If you get a chance to look at the picture at Neiman's, the Lafayette 148, you'll see there's no belt, and it almost just looks like it's just too much. But I went and saw the real cape. I tried it on. I had a belt underneath, and I loved it. Again, the only thing I didn't like is as you turned around, it was too high in the back, and I always want my bum covered if I'm wearing leggings. Okay? Okay, question. Is the book Dress to Kill Gently the right reference to understand the proper proportions for adding or subtracting length based on height? It is. Dress to Kill Gently will tell you proportions, it'll tell you focal point, it'll tell you line illusion. Barbara, I won't say your last name, nobody knows you, but last Saturday we were in the workshop in Miramar. Barbara's she's vertically challenged, and we were going over proportions, and I mean, she knew it, but I just kind of had to keep telling her that it's too long, too long, too long. It's got to keep in proportions. As long as you're making and doing all these wonderful things for yourself, it's a really important principle to keep them all in proportion. So yes, learn them and then apply them. Get your focal point, get all the parts together so that you really look your best. Very simple to do. I know you can wash and dry silk fabrics before cutting. Is it possible to do the same for 100% wool? I do. But I have a front loader, and I put it on a very gentle cycle, and then generally before I do the whole yardage, I always do a little 4-inch square, and I'll cut 2 4-inch squares, and I'll throw it in the washer and then bring it out and compare it, and then I throw it in the dryer and bring it out and compare it. And I'm going to tell you 99 out of 100 I have never had a problem. And I don't remember the one time because almost everything, but I don't want to say do everything because I would recommend you just do a swatch. So just do 2 swatches, same size, and you got to compare them back. Okay? Okay, how we doing? Really? We're good? And we're on time. How about that? All right, so the goal is to keep you sewing. Actually, not keep you sewing. The goal is to help you love what you sew. And so you can see now that I have a few more outfits in my closet. My closet is, I've actually literally run out of hangers. So last spring when I cleaned my closet, I had all these hangers. I thought I'll never use all these hangers. I can get rid of all these hangers, but I didn't get rid of them. I kind of pushed them underneath something. And now, like the other day, there's like not a hanger left. I'm like, all those hangers can't possibly be gone. I couldn't have made that many things, but guess what? My hangers are all gone. So before I can make anything else, I have to get some hangers. So y'all know what that means. Back to the drawing board, we're going to have a little wardrobe planning session next time. We still have pattern of the month, but a little wardrobe planning, a little reminder for fall, kind of how to clean up. And y'all know those stashes, they have to go. They have to go. They don't have to. But some of the fabrics in there, y'all know, are not current. All right, I won't beat a dead horse. We'll leave it at that. Anything I can help you with? If not, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Anything? We good? We got through all these. 5 new outfit ideas, you guys. Bam. All right, so we're going to see you in 2 weeks for the next webcast. Although we'll start to see you sooner now. Sorry about that. But anyway, we'll see you in 2 weeks. We'll have, like I said, the pattern of the month for November. It's going to be fabulous. Get a wrap. There's so many wrap options here, you guys. No matter what you do, you can add a collar. You can do all kinds of fun things. Thanks so much for watching. Happy sewing from Silhouette Patterns. Good night.